I don't know if I'm the right person because even now sitting with you, I think we all have imposter syndrome. I'm like, I can't put myself out there. Like one thing that our company is terrible about is like videos. When we talked about at the conference, like putting myself in front of the camera and like trying to navigate talking to a pet owner and record what I'm doing with the dog and then post that video. Like the internet can be so hateful and so awful. And I always like to be like, I'm a delicate flower that will make me cry. But if I'm being honest, I don't have all the answers, but I have surrounded myself with people who believe in me and I believe in them just as much. And like, I actually was not the person who said, let's have a conference. But I can tell you this, I said, fuck it. If not me, then who? If not me, then who? Why can't I make a conference? At first I was like, who the hell are we to be even putting on a conference? Like, what do we know? And then I was like, but if I don't do it, who is going to do it? No one. No one's doing it in Ohio.
Everybody. So welcome. I'm Lianne Shinton, and this is my podcast for Automation Dogs. We do a CRM software for dog trainers. I'm so excited because Jessica Koch is joining us today. Hi, Jessica. Hello. So we met like a couple weeks ago in person at your conference for dog trainers. But today we also want to kind of lean into what you guys are doing locally over there in Ohio with pet dog owners and all the great things you do with the business Professional Canine. So welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here. This is fun. Thanks for the invite.
Great to have you. It looks like Flirty's joining us as well. If you can see her in the background, she's having a little snooze.
Cute. I don't have anybody. Mine are too wound up, so nobody got to come hang today. I was like, I gotta quiet.
Well, I've had instances where Flirty's like catching flies in the background or something, jumping around, being crazy. Malinois. Yes. So tell us a little bit about Professional Canine and what you do and what that's all about, where it's located.
Yeah, so we have 5 of us actually so it's not just me. We all work independently, but we're under a company together and we are located all over Central Ohio. So a little bit north, a little bit south, kind of a little bit everywhere. We always joke like have dog will travel.
I love that.
Yeah, have dog will travel. But we mostly focus on like Columbus and surrounding areas, basically. We do a little bit of everything from pet dog, law enforcement, service dogs, therapy dogs, everything, whatever. One of us, if it's not me who personally does it, one of us on the team does. So we really pride ourselves on being well-rounded in that regard. So yeah.
Awesome. And I just met you at the conference that you guys literally hosted to help trainers evolve, get better, learn more things about dog behavior and about helping them run their businesses. That is outstanding. Maybe share a little bit about that conference that you guys put on for us.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It was an incredible experience. Something that was important when my counterpart Tom and I started this company and building, like, what do we want things to look like? We had a lot of inspiration of like what we didn't want to be from other people. We talk a lot about mentorships and like backgrounds, but we knew a lot about what we didn't want to be. And something important to us was like, we wanted to be an advocate in this community for other trainers, like not only just pet dogs and the things that we do training in our daily lives, things like that, but we wanted to advocate for more. And so we had this wild idea one day, and something fun about us is that whatever dream comes to mind, somehow we just figure it out. And so there was this little birdie talking and was like, hey, let's do a conference. And I was like, wait, why? What? Who are we? Like, how are we putting on this conference? But it turned out amazing. And it really wasn't about us. And it was never intended to be about us. It truly was meant to be about the attendees and local trainers all over Ohio. We have amazing connections with lots of different trainers in our area. And so we wanted to network and continue to grow that. And the feedback has been phenomenal. A lot of connections, like post conference. What's really cool is there's a Facebook group for the, or not, I guess not a group, a page, and people are still sharing, and the buzz is still going, even 2 weeks after. It has not slowed down. So I'm really looking forward to next year because it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, it was incredible. I was there firsthand. Obviously, amazing speakers,
Yeah.
Travis and Justin
Yeah.
Wrigley. So it's
Oh
just some
my gosh.
amazing speakers. And
Yeah.
you were one of the speakers as well. Could you share a little bit about what
Sure.
topics you spoke on?
Yeah. Fun fact, my background is in veterinary medicine. That is what I call my real time career. I love it, been doing it for forever, it feels like. And so I did some topics, kind of dual role, talking about how to help people, trainers, talk to their clients and educate their clients about animal advocacy in the veterinary hospital and using the dopamine box to have successful vet visits. I talked a little bit about disaster preparedness for trainers who have boarding facilities specifically, or they're doing things inside their homes, making sure that, we are following proper sanitation, making sure our kennels are clean, making sure we have a plan. What about the flood and the tornado and the hurricanes and all that good stuff? And some basic first aid topic, which takes me back home. That's where I started this journey many moons ago, was that dual role. I was actually doing first aid training for first responders and dogs, their police department dogs. So it's been an incredible full circle moment for me personally. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, the dopamine box for veterinary visits. Could you just share a little insight on what that is for folks that might not know?
Yeah, so a dopamine box is quite literally a box, and the goal, it can be complicated. So I tell everyone I think I use the dopamine box for everything, even things that maybe I shouldn't, but it's fine. But it's literally a box, and we are basically asking the dog to be in the box, and they get rewarded there, and they have this dopamine effect, right? And they can then start to pair these with different cues, whether we're using opposition reflex, whether we are using literal tactile touch to pair that with. And we are basically keeping that dog so driven and so focused in the box, we can do what we need to do. Dogs that are having a really difficult time with nail trims and blood draws, or just being in that environment in general, sometimes outside of that, we will train, and the dopamine box becomes the holy grail. And the minute they walk in that vet office, they're a totally different dog with that dopamine box. It's incredible to watch.
That is amazing. So
It
for
is, and it's like not new technology. I don't really know where it first started to come about, but when I started to dabble with it and I realized, holy crap, like even in its most simplest form can be effective for the everyday pet owner. This doesn't have to be a complicated method we use for tracking and detection and all these other really awesome indications. Like it literally can be stripped down to bare bones for the everyday pet owner.
excellent, excellent. And that's kind of who I wanted to speak to today is the everyday pet owner, and just talking about how Professional Canine, though it's a very profound name and everything, this is for you guys are there for the local pet community to help them. And maybe could you share a little bit about some of the transformations you've been a part of? I think you kind of uh, I heard not specialized, but you're really darn good with German Shepherds.
It's because I have so many German Shepherds, or that's just everything. That's going to be my heaven one day, is like walking in, there's just German
Oh,
Shepherds everywhere, right? I'll always be Team Shepherd, even though secretly I love Belgians. But something important to me in this entire journey was to meet people where they're at, meet clients where they're at. That's kind of what sets us apart in all of this, is like, I am an everyday pet owner just as you are, and all of us are. Just because I help you train your dog doesn't mean that I don't still face the same things that they do. And so it was important to me to build a company that really nods to that. That's what we do. This is the center of our world, is meeting people where they're at and having that empathy of like, I understand what you're going through. I did something similar and here's how I fixed it. And here's all the tools in my toolbox. Let's figure out what's going to work and let's give you something you can actually implement long term. It's easy for me to take somebody's dog and just fix the dog. But if that person can't learn as a pet owner, you don't know what in the world I did to fix it, or you can't change your lifestyle, or you don't have your own tools in your toolbox at home, everything I did doesn't matter. And so it's my job to do that, to teach them, to show them how to advocate for their own dog and to be a good pet owner. All the flashy stuff we see on social media is fucking amazing. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but fucking amazing, right? The videos are incredible. I mean, these dogs are out there in the world doing like just things that you dream of. And I think pet owners see that. It's very intimidating. So I have cases where people just want to take their dog to the vet, right? They just want to go to the vet. They just want to be able to get vaccines. And those are some of my most rewarding stories outside of the service work that I do for veterans, like just helping people like marry my two careers together and like show them like it is possible. It is possible. You can make progress and you can be an advocate for your pet. Some people don't know they can speak up and advocate for their pet. They kind of just go with whatever. And I feel very differently. I think you should step up and say, nope, this is what we're going to do. Like, because I am my pet's advocate and, you know, all the things. You know what your pet knows the best. So having that together is so important.
Yeah, it's making me think too, you know, like you said, we're pet owners, you're a pet owner. And that dopamine box, like sometimes folks take their dog just outside for a walk and they're stressed out because they know they've got a reactive doodle or their Frenchie's, you know, going to blow up on the neighbor's dog and they're embarrassed. So having a resource like you to be able to help them understand and fix their dog's issues, but also to maybe get a little dopamine themselves so that they can relax so it doesn't feed down the leash as they're trying to
Absolutely.
take their dog out in public and they're all stressed out
Yeah.
about that.
Oh my gosh, yes. And the dopamine box, like I said, it can be, I mean, some trainers are using it and there's so many layers and facets to it that like you can do anything you want with the dopamine box. But for me as a what I like to call a simple pet owner, like I want to show people like how do I really use it for my own dogs in my own world, and what is possible. And yeah, those reactive dogs, like I want to show people real life. Again, there's all the flashy stuff going on social media. We see it every day and it's incredible. But pet owners are I'm intimidated by that. I see everybody else's dogs. I'm like, oh, daggone, my dog can walk really well on a leash and we can go to the park and we can play ball off lead and we can do some of those fun things. But like, can my dog do the fancy heel and all the things? No, but that's not my bread and butter. And that's not really what I wanted. And so there are trainers out there that like, they're freaking incredible. They can do that. But our company and what we do, we will always tell you like, hey, that's out of our wheelhouse. Like, but we know somebody because that was important to us to have other trainers in our area that we can say, hey, I don't do PSA work and I don't do sport work, but I know the best of the best in Ohio that does. And I can like, we're going to show you, we're going to introduce you. I'm going to personally introduce you to the person that you need to know. And that's what this is all about.
Awesome. And where can folks start? Like they would go to your website, call you, like what does that part of the journey look like for someone that's got like, you know, a dog and it's kind of driving them crazy. They want to take it to the next level and get some help. What do they need to do? What's that beginning process look like?
So you're probably going to hate this because this is totally your bread and butter. We're working on it. We're getting there. But like, just shoot me a text message. Like our information is on social media. It's on Instagram. It's on TikTok. It's on our website. We try to just be super flexible. Call me, text me, send a DM, do whatever. I'll answer. You know, hate nothing more than when you try to contact somebody about something and they don't call you back or text you back for like what feels like a million years. And you have this really frustrating problem because you can't take your dog outside to go potty and you're like losing your mind and you've called a trainer and they don't respond to you for a week. That's not how we operate. One of us will call you. There's 5 of us, right? So if it's not me personally, but you want to work with me, that's okay. Somebody else may get in contact first and help you walk through the problem. We are all open in our communications and share clients back and forth based on needs and locations and all that. So that's all you gotta do. Reach out, send a text.
Awesome. Perfect. And maybe share the website too, so folks know where to find you on the World Wide Web.
Yeah, www.professionalcanine.com.
And it's the letter K, number 9.
Yes, that's correct.
Got it. Okay. So professionalcanine.com. Easy breezy. Shoot a text, give them a call. And could you maybe back up a little bit and share, because you mentioned veterinary medicine. Is that where you started and then you started in dog training? Like, what does that journey look like for you?
Yeah. So I started in veterinary medicine. I never thought I would do anything else. Like even as a wee little, like that's all I want to do is talk about being a veterinarian and veterinary medicine and cats and dogs and whatever. So that's where I started. I'm incredibly fortunate that I had amazing mentors in the veterinary space. And I'm also incredibly fortunate that veterinary medicine does provide an extensive background in animal management, husbandry, behavior, safe handlings, what I call chemical restraints. So when we talk about like therapeutic drugs that we try to use to help pets manage their stress and all of that. So I started in that space and we were counseling people on, they just got a new puppy. What in the world am I supposed to do? Who do I contact? Like whatever. And so, you would be giving basic puppy advice and puppy lesson stuff, but if not enough, you're not even scratching the surface. And so I realized that it's something that I love to do. And I slowly got connected with the right people. And I was fortunate to have good mentors for the most part. And I just slowly started to immerse myself in the dog training world and sharing my knowledge coming from a different perspective with other trainers and the trainers I currently work with. And I walk both sides of things. So I am very intentional to keep business separate. I don't necessarily talk about my training world in my veterinary job. And same on my training job. I try to keep both professions fairly separate. But I, of course, can share knowledge on both sides of that. But my job is to advocate, like, what questions do you talk to my clients, like, how do you find a good trainer? Like, how do you know if your philosophy matches? How do you know if your methodology matches? What does that look like? What kind of training do I need? Do I need, in home? Do I need board and train? Do I need to go to puppy class where I'm with people? So that's what I do. And then on the training side, also advocating, like, how do you find the proper veterinarian or veterinary staff for you? Like, what does that look like? How do I ask the right questions? How do I stand up for myself in that context? So
Those seem like some great questions. I'd like to dig into that. I just wanted to comment too. I love that you're like a lifelong learner. You're always striving to evolve and surrounding yourself with the best of the best. So lucky too. I like that because, you hear some trainers out there, they go to maybe school, get a certification from a school, and they're like, that's it. This is it. I'm amazing. And this is it. But I love learning more and just outside of the box too, like the dopamine box, like that is unique. And I've not heard of anyone teaching on that. And your seminar room was packed. I think Travis had helped you with the teaching because it was just exploding in that room with so many attendees.
It was awesome. And, education's always been a huge part of my life, right? And in veterinary medicine, like everything's always changing. Like there's always some new something going on. And so I think comes naturally. But then when you talk about the dog training side of things, like that was so important to me. I recently, not really recently, but kind of recently, I was taking a familiar course that actually a lot of people in this industry are familiar with, and they were talking about clicker training. And I literally picked up the phone immediately and like called the guys and was like, get a load of this shit. I've been doing this wrong my whole career. What the hell was I thinking? And then I'm like, oh my God, I have to try this right away. And like, I run out and get a dog and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm not supposed to fast track. I'm supposed to do the thing and do the thing. And so it's been super fun because there are things that you learn so many moons ago. And the next thing you know, you're like, wait, we're not doing that anymore. Where the hell have I been? Like, like, I got to keep up. Like, we're moving and changing and grooving. And there are amazing people that are just crushing the social media game as far as like sharing their knowledge and sharing like up to
Mhm.
date things that they're doing. And I think that it should inspire other dog trainers and pet owners too. Like they should be consuming this information just as much, but um it's free and it's out there and you can just learn. Just take it all in. And then, like I said, I'm probably using the dopamine box for things that they're like, what, how, why are you even doing that? Like, cause it works. It works and it's great and it's so fun. And um people can learn from each other. I've taken what someone else has done and adapted it to my own thing. And that's how we should all be handling it.
I love that advice. And yeah, there's so much information out there. As you're speaking, like, and when you were sharing about the business and how you help pet owners, you're the expert. And I think it's nice for them to be able to just say, this is the issue, help me. And having an expert give them like firsthand advice is gold. They don't have to go do
Absolutely.
all of that and figure that out, because you and I share like that same brain, where we're like, we want to learn all these things about dog training, but I get that the average pet owner is just like, just help me with this little monster right here.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I'm this and that's part of it, right? Is like I want to continue to educate myself as much as possible because sometimes I get
Yeah.
a wild case. I'm like, I have literally no idea to where to even start. And so like, okay, let's start checking things off the list. Like what is good, what is working, and let's focus on that first. And then we'll get into the problem. But like let's work on like let's take it back, let's strip it to the basics and say, okay, this is what I love and this is what is working. Let's start there and then let's just check things off our tool belt of like what can we try, what can we do in that process, and having a background in that and having trial and error, like working with enough dogs to trial and error, like I've seen this before and here's what
Mhm.
I did for this dog. Like let's start there, and then when parts of that don't work or none of it works, then we just keep going down the line. Sometimes you get a 2 for 1. Every once in a while, we get something that we're like, whoa, okay, that's really something we haven't seen before, or we've seen this, but nothing we're offering is working. Let's bring in one of our other trainers. Let's have somebody else get some eyes on this. So every once in a while, that's the advantage is you get 2 for 1. You get me and another trainer. Sometimes you get all 5 of us. That's when you really got a doozy.
And I think that's good for pet owners to hear, because it's not cut and dry.
No.
Training Miss Flirty back here, my Belgian Malinois, is going to be different than training your dog. And, there's just no like set program, set method, set price. You've got to talk to an expert and have them help you navigate the best journey. And, that's where there's just not a right out of the box solution for every dog.
Right. Right. And some of it is like some of it's breed specific. And so I'm very fortunate again, I have an extensive background in like breeds. Like I understand different health concerns with different breeds and things that like I can say, hey, while we're training, let's also look into these other things. And like, here's what you should advocate and research and understand and take to your vet staff and say, hey, I have this breed of dog and I'm having these behavior concerns or I'm having this problem. I also know that my dog breed is prone to X, Y, and Z. Is this something we can look into? Like, what can I do? And so there's a line of respect. I don't ever want my clients to walk in and just be like, do all the things. I know everything. It's not about that. It's just about understanding your breed background and understanding like some behaviors are just going to be what they are. And it's learning to manage that and make them work for us, not against us.
Yes. And maybe just to go into specifics a little bit so folks can kind of be aware of some of the things we look for. Like if someone calls and they say, I have a husky and he just keeps running away, that would be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm
maybe,
never surprised. I'm like, yeah.
yep. maybe share a little bit of a few different common breeds that you guys see, where you're seeing common behaviors that genetically that breed is predisposed to. So folks might feel like, oh, okay, that makes sense then. That's okay, but we still need help and we need to talk to Jessica.
I think the biggest one that comes to mind is not our traditional what everyone's seeing, shepherds and mals and all these big working breeds. Like we already know. We got the education out there, but like some of the ones that I have to remind people are these little guys or the doodles. Oh, it's always the doodles, right? People are like these family dogs and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, wait, you guys put two working breeds together and called them a doodle. Yeah, we gotta go back on that, right? Like what do standard poodles, what were they originally bred for? What were they meant for? What is their history? And you put it with the all-American golden retriever. What the hell do you think you were gonna get? Like, of course you have these problems. Of course you have this guarding. Of course you have sometimes I find them be kind of standoffish, but that is sometimes breed history. But you think because you put them with a golden retriever that you just have this all-American dog, and that's not really how genetics work. Sometimes it's even our little guys, like little rat terriers and any of those little, I don't like any of those little guys, right? A lot of them were meant for barn hunts and to do outdoor stuff. They're real stinking cute. But they were meant for a working purpose. And so people will come and say, like, I'm having these challenges with like nipping and they're into everything, or they're too rambunctious, or they're just all over the place and I can't channel them. I don't know what to do. And you're like, it's a working breed. That's what they were meant for. They're little and they're cute and they're fun house pets, but they still have to have a job that matches what they were originally for. We've domesticated them to some. You'll get the anomaly that's cool to hang out on the couch, but a lot of these little guys, people get little dogs thinking they're the perfect little family pet, and they sometimes cause more problems than a daggone Belgian Malinois.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
everyone says, don't get a Malinois. You shouldn't own a Malinois. And I'm looking at the blue heeler that has wrecked some family's world, and they're ready to rehome it, and they don't understand the dog, and they don't understand why it's not a good family pet, and they don't have a farm, and they don't intend to do sport work, and they don't intend to really they just wanted this really cute speckly dog, and they're real mad the dog's not doing what they want, but they don't know how to relate to that dog. And it's my job as a trainer to meet them where they're at and say, hey, you're having a big misunderstanding. You guys aren't communicating. And it's usually not the working breeds I have trouble with. It's not the Belgians. It's not the Shepherds. It's none of those guys. It's our everyday pet breeds that actually cause the most ruckus in the training world.
I can definitely identify with that. So yeah, those are some great
That's
examples.
what you do, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you do, right? Like, you meet some of these little, like the little Papillon ones, all with the big ear poofs. Adorable. Also raise a lot of hell, and they're a lot of dog, right? Like someone will be like, Jeff, like, what's your favorite? I'm like, I want a Shepherd in Belgian because I know exactly what I'm going to get. They want to please me. I know exactly how they operate. Do I want a Papillon? Hell yeah. They are so cute, and they're so freaking smart. Also too smart for me. They're just totally underrated, right?
They're
Cause
cool
the most
dogs.
ruckus in the training world. Yes,
Yeah.
they are.
That's one of the dogs on my list. My next dog. It's a big list. So Papillons are definitely up there.
Or like a Sighthound.
Oh, yeah.
The Sighthounds will get me every time. Oh, I love the Whippets and the Italians and the Greyhounds and all these little guys, but they're what I call a lot of dog. Like, they are not a couch potato dog. And people get them because they're gentle and they're kind and they have a kind soul and they are easy until they're not easy. And they manifest these behavior problems. And you're like, what's going on? You're like, dude, they're meant to race. They're meant to sport. They're meant to work. Look at what they're bred for,
Yep. And I have one. He's a 16-year-old Border Collie Whippet cross, purposely bred for flyball. He's definitely caused a few ruckuses in his heyday.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Yes. And so, and imagine if he didn't have a job. Imagine if, an everyday pet owner got them because they thought due to social media or family or whatever, a lot of people will get breeds of dogs that they've always dreamed about, or maybe they had that kind of dog growing up. And so, they want to get that dog for their family because they have such fond memories. That's amazing. I will never tell anyone, no, you shouldn't get that dog. I just think that being prepared for that ahead of time makes a huge difference. A lot of people will get the little puppy, and the immediate thing that we do is we take them to the pet store, we run them all around town, we show our friends, we show our family, we play with the kids, we go to the park, we do all the things, right? And then it's time for bedtime and we just shove them in a crate and we wonder why they scream bloody murder all night, and then we have problems. And you're like, but you weren't prepared. There's more that goes into that than shoving puppy in a crate and hoping for the best.
Exactly. Well said. Now, I wanted to circle back around to something you touched on earlier, and you'd mentioned, kind of folks advocating, asking the right questions. So if I'm a new puppy owner and I'm looking for a dog trainer, what would be some advice to look for and questions that I may want to ask, and even maybe some red flags to be aware of as they're going through that journey trying to find a trainer?
Yeah. I think the most important piece of finding a trainer is, what philosophies do you use, and making sure that aligns. Um, there's balance trainers thrown out all over the world. That's like the new fad term that we throw out there. But you want to make sure that the trainer that you pick has an understanding. I I don't care if they understand your breed or not, so much as I want to understand what tools that they're going to use. What kind of things will they introduce my puppy to? What are things that they feel is important for training? Is it just, is it board and train? Is that all they do, is take pets into their space and they train them there? Are they only in-home trainers, where they come to you, or mutual locations, which is a lot of people do board and train, which is fabulous, but it's not for everyone. What if you're having challenges with your puppy in your home? Sending them to boarding fixes it there, but it didn't fix it in your home. So having that conversation with a trainer of like, how do we do that? Like, what does that look like? And how does that make sense? What kind of things do they offer outside of training? Like, what support will you have is really important. If you do a board and train, what kind of follow-up is there? What kind of other resources can you offer me? Something, as you know, Lianne, that is really important to us too is retail. It's a huge part of what we do. So like, what kind of things do they recommend? It's not always so brand specific as much as it is like, I want to make sure I'm using the proper tools and that you have the resource to recommend that to me, if that makes sense. And then, of course, budget. I think we have to meet people where they're at. Budget is a huge plan. So, can you pay as you go? Is it one big thing that you can make payments on? Is it lesson based? Is it package based? What does that look like long term? And my ultimate thing would be is, if I'm unhappy or I'm unsatisfied with the training, how do we handle that? And a lot of trainers don't know what to do with that question. If a client asks me, well, Jess, if I'm unhappy, and I'm part ways, like, what does that look like? And I should have an answer for that, and our answer has always been, I will give you your money back, because I think that's really important. And then secondly, being able to make the proper recommendation. Like, I'm not a good fit for everybody. I don't care. Okay. But I'll find you somebody who is. I have a huge network of people that I can say, hey, I'm not going to be your cup of tea. We're not going to jive, but I know just the person who will be. And making that personal introduction, and put your damn ego aside, and like, that business will come back to you tenfold. Like, I don't care. Go to the person who is going to truly help, because that's what we should be in this for.
Excellent. Excellent. Couldn't have been explained better. That was a lot to take in there. The only one thought I'm having too is, I like when the trainer, just like in veterinary, you triage the situation, you ask questions about what's going on. I think it's important for the trainer to ask the family, the dog owner, questions to try and learn, instead of just talking at you like, this is what we're going to do. You have to learn about the person. And I'm sure you got a lot of that from your veterinary background too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trained to take a history and ask all the questions and ask open-ended questions. Um, and something that we lectured on that Adam actually spoke about during the conference was talking to trainers about marketing themselves. Like, stop selling yourself short, like, share your story, and clients will want to share with you as well as other trainers, you know. But if you're very closed off and you find questioning to be offensive, then you're the problem and you're the problem with the industry. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to, tell the client all these things, but you should have an answer for them and you should be able to, talk highly of your other colleagues. And we all know people that maybe we're not so fond of in the industry, and that's okay. Um, you you shouldn't talk shit about them either. Like, you can say,
Yeah.
I've had people ask me, like, what do I think about so and so, and I don't have to talk bad about them. I can just say, I have someone I feel is better suited. You can talk about the good things that they do for the community and just leave it at that, but you don't have to be hateful or negative. And, pet owners appreciate that when you can just be honest.
Yeah. I think that's important to me too, is that someone's not talking shit about someone.
Yeah.
That's just not my
It's like an
jam.
instant red flag. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like instant
It's
red flag. You're like,
put
also,
off
I don't
putting.
want to do, like, clients don't want to do business with you. Yeah, people don't want to do
Yeah.
business with you because, they also have a fear, like, are you going to talk shit about me and my dog when I leave? Like, I think that's real. Like, sometimes you get a really disruptive dog, and those people are so worried about how they appear to the world. And it's my job as a trainer, again, to meet them where they are and say, like, hey, you're not the only one. It is okay. Like, I see this all the time. Like, no big deal. We're going to fix this. You're good. And something I learned and I love to practice on my own as well is like energy work and the chemistry. We talked a lot about that at the conference, is like, our pet owners and the chemistry with their dog matters, and they can sense that. And so being able to talk to your client and talk to people and just be fucking real and like, dude, I do this all the time. Like, this happens all the time. It's no big deal. We're going to fix it. Like, you're good. Let's do the thing. And some trainers out there don't always have that mentality. And I think that is an important piece of making sure you gel with your client.
Yeah. And I think a lot of what we do as dog trainers, we're we're dealing with people and coaching people more so than coaching the dog. And I know you're amazing with people. You're an amazing speaker. You put on that entire conference, like you ran the show. I know Sam was a big part of it, but you were everywhere and just making sure it was run correctly, plus speaking at the same time. But it's so important to be good with people as a dog trainer. We're marriage counselors. Sometimes we're babysitting
Yeah.
children in the
Oh my God.
lessons. Sometimes we're
Yes.
dealing with, you know, a mom who feels like disconnected from their husband because the dog is doing something to cause friction in their marriage. And it's a wild ride sometimes, our job.
Oh my gosh. And don't even get me started on the ones that, like, the husband wants to euthanize the dog and the wife doesn't want to euthanize the dog, or vice versa, or the dog's peeing on the husband's stuff or the wife's stuff. And like, now they're fighting and they're like visibly fighting in the living room. And you're just like,
Yeah.
whoa, I'm very fortunate. My husband puts up with my bullshit most days, and he lets me bring home all the animals. In my job, I drag home all sorts of shit. So I'm very fortunate, but I understand that like some marriages aren't. And so, yeah, you're right. It is crazy. It's crazy what
Yeah.
we see, for sure.
Um, Maybe you could share a little bit about your dogs, or
Oh
you said
gosh.
you're bringing different dogs home, or do you have set
Yeah,
dogs? Okay.
I do. So I have to think about this. So I have two Belgian Malinois. Almost all of my dogs are rescue. They all came from various crazy scenarios in the rescue world. And I have seven shepherds. So um, I have a couple old dogs that I know I am on. I'm living every single day to the fullest with them. I just know that like life is unfair. I don't get to keep them forever. Just hanging on to every memory, every moment. And then I got my young kids that I'm a runner. My husband and I are both runners. And so just we love to get out there like crazy people. We take all the dogs with us and we go for a run, and we run several miles, run some half marathons with our dogs, some marathons with them. So yeah, I love it. It's so fun. But everybody's come to me via rescue. So that's been cool. I recently had an unfortunate situation with one of my dogs that came to me, and I agreed to take him on. And I later found out, or not shortly after, found out he's blind. So we're going to fix it. So he's got congenital cataracts, and that's been a huge learning curve to train him. But I'm very blessed because I get to experience that firsthand. And I hope that one day I get to help another pet owner in the same shoes, truly.
Yeah, that's a very good point that you've been there, done that. If somebody comes to you with a deaf dog or a blind dog, because it is a different experience, but it's once you kind of
Oh,
have your
different.
rhythm, it's fairly easy to navigate. I've personally had a very old Malinois, and just trying to give him information so the poor thing can kind of navigate this new
Yes.
world that has to get used to. But they're
Yes.
Malinois, so they
Yes.
just hit the ground running
Absolutely.
anyway. Okay, technical difficulties we had there, but we are back. And I wanted to ask you, you'd mentioned earlier that you are very passionate about working with veterans. Is that right? Okay. Can you share a little bit about what that looks like?
Sure. So I grew up in a military family. My dad, Sam, who you've already met, he served. And when he would deploy, he of course had people here home state, home side that would take care of us with my mom. A lot of times she had to act as a single mom. And I had a big family around me of other military families, other kids in my shoes, all of those things. And I got into veteran advocacy, you know, a little bit later, but it's something that's so near and dear to me. It's just a little piece of myself that I can give to somebody to say thank you for, all the years that somebody supported me, and my who they made me who I am today. Without them, while my dad was deployed, it would have been a disaster. And so, um, you know, thanking those men and women by helping them get a service dog is something that that's totally my reason why for all of this. Like outside of the pet dog stuff, which is fun, it is a huge piece of who I am and what I do. And we are so fortunate to work with two amazing foundations, one here local to us in Ohio, or two, well, they're both in Ohio, but one's central Ohio and one is up north. And it's been a huge blessing. We put a lot of service.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and when you said like, this is kind of why you do this. And I did see on your Facebook the other day, there was a picture of, was it a German Shepherd? And you literally said, this is why we do this. Could you share
Yeah.
a little bit about that story?
Sure. So that girl actually came from a local shelter. Nobody wanted her. And I went and did an evaluation, was like, this dog just totally misunderstood. She's going to be a freaking rock star. So I pulled her from the shelter, and I've been working her for the last, gosh, I don't know, maybe 6 months, somewhere in that ballpark. And she is amazing. And the wildest part of that story is that I know that veteran personally. And so it was a huge blessing and an honor to give him a dog. So last weekend, he actually flew in from out of town to pick her up. And it was awesome. You can't even explain to people what that feels like. Especially the minute that she got to leave with him and get on that airplane and fly home was like, ah. So we've since had some updates with her, and he reports that she is amazing and doing all of her good girl things that she knows how to do and doing her task work. She's doing the things that he asks of her, and she's doing all her alerts. That's something that we talked a little bit about at the conference too, is using cortisol for PTSD and imprinting that odor. And so she was one of the dogs that is imprinted on cortisol odor. So that's helping him with his PTSD and what she's there for.
That's amazing. And I think too, just having a dog, we get up in the morning because they're jumping on us and driving us crazy. And
Yes.
there's just therapy, service dog work aside, just having a dog can be very therapeutic. It gets us going. It makes us go for walks, things like that. That probably helps if you're feeling kind of sad and
I mean,
you can't hang out on the couch all day because this thing is going to get you going.
the craziest thing, I wish I could give you a number. I haven't lost track because I talk to them almost everybody on a daily basis, a weekly basis at least. But I would say the most common thing when we go through this process with veterans, I take it for granted, and it's something that like my everyday life now, I like the grocery store. All of them, almost every single veteran, I like keep a little tally list. Almost every single veteran has told me, the thing that they want to do is go to the grocery store. And I used to hate going to the grocery store. It's the worst, right? Like, oh, who wants to do that? And I understood from these individuals that like they just want to be normal. They just want to live a normal life and do the things that most people hate to do. And the grocery store, that's what they ask me. Lianne, that is what they ask me. They just want to go to the damn grocery store. And so it's something that I no longer take for granted, and it has put a real perspective for me. But I one time got a text message from a veteran that sent me a picture, and it was the cart handle, and it was like down, and it was like the dog and the cart handle. And he said, I finally got to go to the grocery store for the first time without like just me and the dog, like just him. He went to the grocery store by himself with his dog. Like the independence is
Wow.
insane. And I was like, that is one of the most powerful things that will always stick with me. Something that, again, I take for granted. Like, I hate the grocery store,
Yes.
but not anymore. It's a huge perspective change to like see that firsthand and then to get that message. And it's like, I'm thinking they're going to send me this grandiose update. And it's like, no, I just went to the grocery store and that meant the world to them.
Yeah, it's the independence. You're right. Yeah, that's very impactful. And so your dad, did he get into dogs because of you?
Yes. I mean, he worked with dogs when he was in the military. He did a lot of work alongside them when he served. But of course, once he retired, I don't know if he'll ever admit or not, but I think he wanted to be closer to me. I think he missed me some. Naturally, like he got into it, and I think it brings him a lot of joy to also participate. So he got into it because I would ask him like, "Hey, could you like help me with this service dog? Would you be willing to take this dog out and give it experience?" And sometimes like I need the dog to get away from me as a trainer. Like I need them to have a little independence. It makes that transition from me, the trainer, to the person. And so I would send him with the dog. I would say, "Hey, can you go take this dog out and do the thing?" And at that time, he wasn't sure what he wanted to do, but he was taking courses and he was like, "I think I want to get into dog training," kind of love it. And like, he loves dogs. He's always been into it. And, we absolutely have a place for him on our team, and he loves to do what I call the hard stuff, like the decoy work and the law enforcement naturally. Like all the stuff that like I don't want to do. Again, we have people who do it, but yeah, yeah, secretly, I think he probably did because of me, but it's been cool to have him on our team.
Yeah,
And of course,
that's
my husband.
amazing.
Yeah, you met my husband too. He also,
Yes.
I think he naturally fell into it because, well, if I have all these dogs, I'm going to need help with service dogs that stay with us. And again, I want them to have experience outside of me as a handler or me as a trainer, like to get ready for their handler. So he like naturally got into it. And then I was like, "Hey, I'm taking this coursework. Like, why don't we sign up? Let's do it together. Let's take this class together. Let's take this certification together, whatever." And so, um, his background is in sales, and he's been a pivotal part of our business, helping us grow and understanding our retail side of things. It's been good. So it's like a
It's a
family affair.
true I was just going to
Crazy.
say, this is a true family business, but it feels like you're the ringleader, like you're the matriarch of this.
You tell them that because I think they call me HR. I'm the one who makes all the rules. I'm like, "No, we can't do that. That's bad."
Well, you guys are running an amazing business. I loved the concert. That's what it was like. It was,
Like
but
a
yeah,
concert. Yeah.
I loved it because it was so personal
Yeah.
and intimate.
Yeah.
And a lot of conferences I go to, it's just lost in the shuffle, and the speakers don't interact with the people that are listening at all. Everybody was asking questions and giving feedback, and it was just
Yeah.
the best conference I've ever been to.
Dean, our goal is always, of course, to reach more people and to grow. That's always the goal, right? But at the same time, we aren't looking to be this national, several thousand people attendee conference. Like we want it to be intimate. We want to have genuine conversations. I want quality. I want people who want to be there because they want to network and they want to share knowledge and they want to get knowledge and they want to, like, they're like-minded. Everybody there was like, I know they're not copy and paste, but they were copy and paste. Like, we all are like, yes, let's learn. We're craving this. And like, I, for me, it was rewarding to watch people like exchanging phone numbers. Like the speakers were exchanging information with the attendees and we're like, hey, I got a thing next week. Like, we're gonna hook up, we're gonna do the thing. And I'm seeing that unfold. And I actually saw Travis came back down to the Columbus area to a PSA club to do some work and was posting about it on social media. Like, I met these folks at the conference and like, look at me now. And now we're like, it's amazing to connect all these people together. And it's has nothing to do with me. Like, yeah, I put it all together, but at the end of the day, like, it's, this is what it's about. It's about everybody connecting. It's about everybody being there for each other. That is what this is about.
And you definitely succeeded at that. At the
Thank you.
conference, there was a couple there that had a business background. They were newer to being dog trainers. They knew the business side, but they wanted more on the dog trainer education. And they were like, it's hard to find people that will help us, that will
Yeah.
mentor us.
Yeah.
And I'm in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is exactly why this conference was created, was for this
Yeah.
question right here.
Absolutely.
Another thing, in I spoke with Travis the other day, and he mentioned that he'd given some advice to somebody. It was a business advice regarding Google. And I literally the next day talked to the person who was like, yeah, Travis gave me this business advice about Google. And I was like, okay. So yeah, 7 degrees of separation kind of thing.
And
Everybody
it's
really
crazy.
took
It's
something away.
yes. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And you guys played a huge role in the conference as well. And so that it's incredible to see people like I was like doing the happy dance. And like people were wanting, like, they want advice. They were like, hey, will you, like, even me, I was like, hey, will you look at my website? Cause I don't know what we're doing. Like, we're the kind of people that we just figure it out as we go. And, you know, we're just like, okay, what are we doing? Like, what's out there? So, I'm hopeful that some of the new trainers, we had people there that like haven't even started their dog training yet. They're just trying to figure out what they do to even be meant to get a mentor. And so that was hella powerful. I'm excited. Like, I hope that everyone that came this year comes next year and I get to get that update of like, tell me all the things. What have you been up to? And something important to us was like the Facebook page that we created for the conference. Like, we went and followed all of these people's businesses and we like are wanting to share their content, like share, like, look what these people are doing. This
Yeah.
is freaking awesome. Um, that's important. That connection is so important.
Yeah, I think that the stuff you did as well with the social, the posts, the pictures you were taking, that also helped us all be connected after the conference. Now, there was just one more question I had, and it's, you've said it twice now, and it's that you kind of figure it out as you go. And you've launched this business in Ohio that has different locations. You've launched this conference to help dog trainers to, learn to be better dog trainers and run their business. But you just dive in and figure it out as you go, it kind of seems, which is so important. I think a lot of us get stuck and we're like, it has to be perfect before I put it out there. And then they never put it out there. So any advice to someone who might be thinking they want to do this one thing,
Yeah.
but they've got to get going?
Gosh, I don't know if I have the answer. I don't know if I'm the right person because even now sitting with here, I like, I think we all have imposter syndrome. Like, I can't put myself out there. Like, one thing that our company is terrible about is like videos. when we talked about at the conference, like putting myself in front of the camera and like trying to navigate talking to a pet owner and record what I'm doing with a dog and then post that video. Like the internet can be so hateful and so awful. And I always like to be like, I'm a delicate flower that will make me cry. But if I'm being honest, I don't have all the answers, but I have surrounded myself with people who believe in me and I believe in them just as much. And like, I actually was not the person who said, let's have a conference. Um, but I can tell you this, I said, fuck it. If not me, then who? If not me, then who? Why can't I make a conference? At first I was like, who the hell are we to be even putting on a conference? Like, what do we know? You know? And then I was like, but if I don't do it, who is going to do it? No one. No one's doing it in Ohio. And so why can't I? What stops me from doing that myself? And I would say the majority of us, like, we get in our own way. And if you would just get the hell out of your own way, you are far more capable of doing anything you want in this world. Life is too short, right? We've all experienced such loss and grief. Everybody has their own personal shit, right? Just get out of your own way. Just do it. Who cares what everyone thinks? Who cares? You know? I bet if you asked any one of those speakers talking to people at the conference, the majority of them feel imposter syndrome. The majority of them feel like they lack something somewhere across the board. And we certainly by no means have any of this figured out. I just think I'm willing to fail. I'm willing to say, who cares? If I don't get it right this time, well, I'll get it right next time. And if I don't get it right that time, well, I'll just keep going until I do. And we got incredible feedback, and I will take that feedback seriously. People had very good suggestions for the next conference, and I'm already doing it. I'm already working on it. Like, yep, you were right. Nobody had any feedback that I was like, oh, that's super out of left field. That's not true. Everything everyone had to say feedback wise, I was like, 100%, they were right.
That was an excellent answer. My takeaway that I identified with anyway, because there was a lot to unpack in there, but when you said you surround yourself with the people that they might be doing it better than you, they might already have done it. And that's a good, I think, path. I've always kind of done that when I wanted to do, a world level dog. I wanted to join a team, a club that had already been on the world team and things like that. And I think the conference is a place where you're surrounding yourself with people that you can evolve into, you can learn from, all of those things. When you mentioned the video stuff, you came to me and you were like, maybe next year you could do this and help us with the video stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's not like you have to do it yourself and wear all the hats. You can be like, guess what, Lianne, you're going to be in charge of videoing everybody next year so that we can get that out, because people wanted to be in two rooms at once because there was so much great stuff going on.
Yes. And I think that's important. Even like in general, like there's so much toxicity and hate in this industry, even in the veterinary industry. And I have always said from day one, like, I want to be the mentor or the person that maybe I didn't have in my life to tell me, like, you're going to be good. You're going to be okay. Like, you're going to make it, right? Like, some of us never have that experience. Some of us never have people in our lives that tell us that.